Hey, it's Key Bros. On July 29th, a knife attack incident occurred at a dance school in Southport, England, resulting in the deaths of 3 children aged 6 to 9 and 10 people injured. Now, the incident triggered the spread of false information on social media in the UK, leading the British public to mistakenly believe that the perpetrators were Muslim immigrants, which in turn sparked a mass series of protests and demonstrations targeting immigrants, ethnic minorities and Muslims, eventually escalating into street riots. The protesters committed arson, looting and even attacked law enforcement police officers. South Yorkshire Police Assistant Chief Constable Lindsay Butterfield described the disorder as a disgusting display of thuggery, while Keir Starmer, current Prime Minister of the UK, says he can guarantee rioters will regret taking part in this disorder, as he condemns the attack on a hotel housing asylum seekers in Rotherham and brands the action as far-right thuggery. Now, first of all, many of these immigrant problems that England is facing stem from British imperialism. If Britain had not colonised half the world and spread the English language in its former colonies in Africa, South Asia and even Hong Kong, people in these regions may not have the ability nor the will to mass migrate to England. It is worth noting that many of these people coming into the UK are actually fleeing from British military actions and interventions in Libya, Afghanistan, Syria and Iraq that completely destroyed their homes in the first place. So in a way, I think it's just karma and only inevitable for these immigrant problems to surface in the UK, like a boomerang. Secondly, and ironically, the stances and measures taken by the British government in the face of these protests incidents, which are similar in nature to, if not worse, than those in Hong Kong, were vastly different in terms of response, especially to the 2019 Hong Kong anti-extradition bill protests. The blatant double standard exhibited by British government and politicians is truly astonishing. Recalling in 2019, Hong Kong police officers who lawfully carried out their duties and strived to maintain public order were immediately branded by the UK government and politicians as abusing their power. In January 2020, a member of the British House of Lords wrote an article urging the British government to make senior Hong Kong police and government officials as the first batch of targets for sanctions. Then in August, the all-party parliamentary group in Hong Kong in the UK then published a fraudulent report claiming human rights violations in Hong Kong and suggested imposing sanctions on senior Hong Kong officials who allowed for brutality and also imposition of the national security law in Hong Kong. While in contrast, the British government seems to have adopted a completely different approach in dealing with protest incidents in Hong Kong versus those at home in the UK. The British police are now granted much authority and power to deal with protesters and rioters at home with the new National Security Law or Act passed in 2023. The government has also brought forward plans to house more than 500 new prisoners and inmates available to deal with people arrested in the past week, while Justice Minister Heidi Alexander claimed that the courts could possibly begin sitting through evening, night and even weekends in order to prosecute the rioters swiftly. The prison sentences received by some, if not many, of the UK rioters were actually longer than those received by Hong Kong rioters responsible for the unrest in 2019 and 2020. Yet, the UK politicians have the audacity to attack Hong Kong's independent judicial system. What's even more puzzling is the members of the Hong Kong former opposition, such as Nathan Law and Ted Hui, who vehemently claimed in 2019 that Hong Kong lacked freedom and human rights. Yet when these similar incidents happen in the UK, where most people are actually based in now, they remain completely silent and have not uttered a word about the British government's actions. This selective advocacy reveals some unsavory political motives behind their actions and stances. It is evident that in 2019, the banners of freedom and democracy used in Hong Kong were only to achieve their own political agenda. This incident undoubtedly exposed the true face of foreign politicians and opposition figures controlled by foreign powers. It realizes clearly that these people are not genuine pioneers of democracy or freedom fighters. Foreign politicians are also not truly concerned about the well-being of us Hong Kong people, but rather are political opponents who just merely use Hong Kong as a plan and a pawn to achieve their geopolitical ambitions. Our people must be wary of these insidious traps that sow social discord, and we need to safeguard both our national safety and security and sovereignty, and also more importantly, the core interests of Hong Kong moving forward. Thank you, and see you guys soon.